Welcome to the Navigating Digital Payments podcast, brought to you by Worldline, bringing you the latest innovations, trends, and predictions about the future of payments.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Navigating Digital Payments podcast. I'm David Daly. I look after the scientific community here at Worldline. And today I'm really excited that we've got another bonus episode for you where we are joined by the FinTech Manager 1, who were part of the e-payments challenge that Worldline ran at the end of January. In that challenge, they won two of the challenges, one with BMPP Arval and Instant System, and one with S-Payment and Finance Informatic. And they also won the overall grand prize at the e-payments challenge. So really thrilled that we're going to be discussing this topic of, could this be the end of traditional expense claims as we know them? And to talk about that, I'm joined by Adrien Touati, who is the co-founder of Manager 1. Adrien, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, David. Hello, Ina.
Welcome, Adrien. And as you mentioned, we're also joined by Ina, who is the Global Partner Manager for the Merchant Services part of the Worldline business. Hi, Ina.
Hello, David. Hello, Adrian. Nice to meet you.
And great to have you joining us again, Ina. So I thought it'd be really good to start off, Adrien, by asking you about the challenges that you saw around expense claims and expense claim management and how that led you to set up Manager 1. Then interesting to hear how you've been applying technology to address that challenge. And then, of course, I'll also be really interested to hear your predictions for the future trends in this space. So, as I said, perhaps we could begin by just asking you, what was the problem that you saw? What issues did you see in the market that led you to setting up Manager 1?
Okay. A few years ago, when I have decided to set up my first company, it was quite hard to get bank accounts. All the traditional bank, when you are going to tell them that you need a bank account to start your business, will ask you a lot of things. And for me, it was quite stupid because I was not looking for credits. I was not looking for a loan. I was just looking to set up a bank account to start my business. And this is the beginning of the story. And this is why we decided to start Manager 1, because we got a pain point just opening a bank account.
Wow. So it was difficult to get a bank account. And that's what prompted you to set up Manager 1. So what is it that Manager 1 is offering then that helps with that problem, Adrien?
The first services that we are providing to company is bank account. Basically, you are coming to a website, and in 1 or 2 days, you can have your bank account. Or compliance services are going to look after your different files, and if it's everything okay, you will get your bank account easily. We are not going to ask you for business plan, business model, and where you are going to be in 3 or 5 years. And after that, we say, okay, that now we are providing to all company the main services, basically a account number. We have to providing more and more services, and more services are going to give you back some time and let you focus on your business and not on paperwork. And this is to our DNA, how we are working at Manager 1, and what is our leitmotif. Really focus on providing a lot of system or tools that will be more easier for you to manage your company.
So that's really interesting, Adrien. I guess, as you say, so the first thing you've done is tried to make it much more frictionless and easy to set up a bank account for a business, by the sounds of things. But then you've also started to look at other ways that you can make life easier for your clients. Is that right?
Yeah, it's correct. And when you are a company, among a lot of things that you have to manage, the first one is to be able to bring a proof for each payment. So basically, when you are going to do a payment, when you are going to go to the restaurant, when you are going to buy some ticket for traveling, you will be able to bring the proof of payment, the invoice, directly to the platform. And when I say it like that, it seems obvious for you, for me. But basically, all the traditional banks don't let you bring a proof to a payment. And it's quite stupid because when you are a professional, you need to justify everything. And when you are going to be able, as a user, to bring the proof of the payment directly after the payment, it will change your life and change the life of your accountant too. So this is the first step that we have done. And after that, we bring a lot of more of tools around the payment, around the card. For example, a lot of companies don't want to give a payment card to their employee. Why? Because they don't trust them, sorry, but they don't trust them. And they find that employees are not enough rigorous. They don't want to go back to them and get the file, the invoice. They want a solution easy that can employee bring the proof for each payment. So we have done that, and on the card we bring a lot of settings. For example, if you are going to pay with your card, if you don't send the invoice of the payment, the card doesn't work anymore, it's blocked. And this is this kind of solution that will going to change the life of the manager, of the employee, because if you have the setting and if you can set up easily the setting, you will be able to provide card to everybody in a company.
And we know that when company is growing, when business is growing, even like scaling from 5 to 20 people or 40 or even 100, there is one of the underlying issue is cash flow, because they usually have some needs in the time of growth. Do you also provide such services to some enterprises like this who need help?
We are working with a bank on the it's a credit agreement, so we are able to providing this kind of solution, and the bank do it with something called the venture loan. This is a kind of loan for company close to be break-even. This is one solution that the bank is providing to client. And with Manager One, we are providing a solution for scale-up with tools for what we call the capital augmentation. I don't know if it's the same word in English, but when you are going to raise money, we are providing them a great tools. For example, you click on one button and you have a new bank account for this raise. And after that, you are able to collecting the fund from all your new shareholder, and you will be able to see all the fund. And when you have collecting all the money, you will get a button to say, okay, guys, I have all my money. Now you can send me my attestation, my certificate of augmentation. We are providing to them easily. So we work on workflow. We change the life of entrepreneur. And this is really, really what we are looking for. If you as a entrepreneur, you can focus on your businesses and be free of all the paperwork, is a big win for us.
And Adrien, I'm really just interested to understand a bit more in the detail, if you like, how some of what you've described would work. So let's say I set up a company, I need a bank account, I can create a bank account with Manager One. Let's say it grows a bit and I have 10 staff working for me and they, as you say, are going on business trips, they're incurring expenses. How practically what happens then? Can I give them some kind of card? Do they use an app? How does it work?
Many way. I will illustrate this with a concrete case. We do have a company with something like 2,000 of employees. Among these 2,000 of employees, there is 500 employees with a card. They are card holder with a payment card, a physical one. Among the 1,500 other employees in the company, they don't need a card because they are going to do a payment maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So we don't need to provide them a card. But for these 2 or 3 payments, how we are going to manage it? They will be able to ask for a virtual card on the platform for doing their payment. For example, if they need to pay a travel ticket, they are going to say to their manager, okay, I need a virtual card with 600 euros on it. Can you give it to me? And the manager will approve or not the expense, and the employee will get the card and will be able to pay with it directly and don't need to go on a refund system, quite slow and hard to manage. And we do have another solution when you can say, okay, basically I was somewhere, I have done an expense for somebody, and you will be able to ask for a refund directly from the platform easily. You just need to send the proof of the payment. You will put your account number, and your approver or your manager just have to click on one button to send the money back. So for each kind of issue, we do have a solution.
And I don't know, in the case of providing cards to employees, how can I make sure they're not spending more than expected or that they're spending on the right things? How is that control then put in place?
50 settings we are providing to the top of the company. And the first one basically is the limits. Of course, you can manage with day, week, months limits. So this is the first step for the security. You are going to say, like I said before, some parameters for the proof, and say, I want a proof for each payment or not. I want this proof after 1 day, 1 week. And if you don't provide the proof, the card is blocked. You will be able to manage the category of expense and say, okay, basically you can use this card only for a restaurant or only for traveling or only for gas station. If you want to do a petrol card, you can do it in 3 seconds. This is the kind of revolution. Before that, you will need to subscribe to a petrol card. Right now, it's finished. You can manage by yourself where the card can be used and when. If you want, you can set up a card working only the Monday from 10 to 8.
So it sounds like you can set up really fine-grained control of the amount and the type of spend that people can make with the cards that you give to your employees if you're using your platform. And is integrated also some record keeping so that the company has a kind of full log of all the receipts or whatever it is, the proof of purchase that might be required?
Yes, of course. On the French system, when you are going to go to the restaurant, and I hope one day, David, you will come in Paris and have the joy to share a lunch together, I will have to send the proof of the payment and say with who I was. Because if I don't say I was with David, I can be in trouble with on a control. So this is the kind of information I will be able to put in the application. So basically, yes, I will be able to manage every type and kind of expense, and I will be able to add a lot more information on an expense from my side. When was the lunch? With who? And for what? What purpose? And when I meet these two solutions with the declaration from the side of the cardholder and the limitation from the management, you got a great solution.
And I guess, what we've been discussing here, we'd probably see this as an example of how B2B payments are really evolving and becoming more digital, more automated. What What other evolutions in this kind of area are you seeing in the market at the moment?
Well, we see that in the market there are really great and automated solution already for payment for automation. However, not all companies are following that approach. And at that moment, I think it's by 2020, around of 45% of the companies in US time to time still use check. Many companies, up to 60% even in Europe, sometimes have paper invoicing. And quite up to 20% account payable department stated that they don't have a changes of automation and payment in their companies. So in fact, the reality is telling us that the biggest challenge is to bring automation into the payment facing the biggest company or the high level, medium and exercise companies. Definitely all new recent startup or companies moving immediately on the digital space and electronic invoicing and making their accounting and their financial life easier and smooth.
I do have a question for both of you. What is for you the biggest challenge for a company today?
I was looking at, for example, what challenges do merchants typically face at the moment. And what was interesting was some of those challenges are the same for any company. So recruitment, retention of staff morale, let's say, was a big topical one. That could be any company, but it was interesting for me because retailers were seeing that.
Exactly, David, you are totally right. You have said two words, retention and recruitment. And in fact, a lot of company thinking that the biggest challenge is the recruitment of staff. But this is not. The biggest challenge is the retention of your team. How your team feel happy inside your company and stay longer. And for that, you need to bring a lot of solution like employee benefit solution. Many tools that make that the employee is able to focus on what they like to do and not on, like I said before, paperwork without value.
Adrian, at the start of the podcast, I mentioned that you were the winners of the grand prize in the e-payments challenge. I wonder if I could ask you just to say a few words about how you found the experience of participating in the Worldline e-payments challenge.
It was a 100% online event. Worldline really have done a great work on this event because they tried to bring some physical aspect of this kind of hackathon with finally the basis. When you are doing an hackathon, what is cool is to meet a lot of people. It was for us a very good experience because we will be focused on many challenge and have the luck to meet a lot of people in different company with different issue. Yeah, it was very nice experience. It was very hard, I think so, for Worldline to manage this event, and you are doing a great work. All the team have done a great work, really.
I know, I think the organisation team will be delighted to hear that feedback, Adrian, because I remember that it was a last minute decision, actually, sadly, to switch to an online event. So they had to make a lot of changes at the last moment. But I think, as you say, they did the best they could to put some tooling in place to keep those interactions and the networking and the exchanges that make a hackathon a useful experience for everyone. So I think that they'll be pleased to hear that, I'm sure. If I could maybe finish off just by asking you, Adrien, if you have any thoughts about future trends in this area, what you think the next big developments might be?
Oh my God. I think we are close to a tsunami in the payment. We will see a lot of change. Blockchain is one step, open payment is one step, open banking is one step.
And what do you think about smart contract? Do you consider to start to use them? as a part of your solution as well?
In fact, we use a kind of smart contract because when you are going to get many documentation from the bank for the user, we have already done many jobs to be able to certificate everything. It's quite crazy, but right now when you are going to provide an invoice to another company, the company can't see or certify if the invoice have not been modified from the sender to the guy who get it. But I think, you are going to be able in close future to have a certification on each document. So there will be a lot of use of the blockchain, of the smart contract in a very close future.
So, Adrien, I would like to say that it was really interesting, fascinating, in fact, to hear your thoughts that you've shared with us today. I suppose if we come back to what we've covered, we started with looking at the need you saw, which actually began as businesses, small businesses that were starting up needing an easier way to get a bank account. And then you've started to look at other services you can layer on top of that to make life easier for companies. And one of the big ones we've talked about is making the whole process of expense claims much more seamless, much easier, not just for the business, but also for the staff. And as you say, retaining staff is probably one of the critical priorities for pretty much any company at the moment. So that's clearly a big driver there. And as you said, it's payments generally is still a kind of a very fast evolving market, and it's going to be fascinating to see what happens in the next 3 to 5 years, I think. So really want to thank you for spending some time with us and sharing these insights. Thank you, Adrien.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ina.
And likewise, Ina, really great to have you here again for this session.
Thank you. Pleasure shared.
I just want to mention that our next regular episode will be out in a few weeks' time, and there we are discussing the question, does in-store retail have a future? If you would like to get in touch to propose new topics or to give us any feedback at all, you can email us on ndp-podcast@worldline.com. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review and a rating. And last but not least, I just want to thank you for listening to us as we navigate digital payments.
Thank you for listening to the Navigating Digital Payments podcast, brought to you by Worldline. Join us next time to learn more about the latest innovations, trends, and predictions for the future of payments.